Welcome back, YouTube. Today we're going to be watching another Fat Electrician video, as it's been a little bit. This time we're watching his newest video of the American Airborne Beavers. I'm assuming they mean the rodents and not the body part. Alright, then without further ado, let's get into it.
This is easily one of my favorite stories of all time, and it is the epitome of it's not stupid if it works.
I completely agree.
Today we're talking about Operation Beaver Drop, that time that a bunch of World War II veterans that worked for the Idaho Fish and Game Department got assigned the task of relocating a bunch of beavers to a different habitat, and they decided that the cheapest, safest, most cost-effective way to go about that was to strap them to parachutes and throw them out of a plane. And we're gonna get into it right after this ad.
Okay, wait, before he gets to the ad, okay. Getting the beavers, that seems like that would be more difficult, right? Okay, it seems weird that they're gonna throw the beavers out of an airplane in parachutes. Okay, I get that. I hope he explains how they caught. How do you catch a beaver? They seem very slippery. I think they are literally slippery since they cover themselves in slime. Or some type of slime. It's gross. First you gotta get them. Then after that, throwing them out of a plane, sure. Traps? Oh yeah, I guess you could put them in a trap. Yeah, I guess they do have beaver traps. I guess they're not as elusive as I thought.
Because I got bills. This video is brought to you by Conflict of Nations, a free online
I thought that just said
military strategy
this
game.
video is sponsored by World War III
type scenario where you get to pick your own country, or you can pick a state inside of the United States, because that's really the only way to make it fair for everybody else. Otherwise, America would be the instant win. Personally, I always start out as playing Iowa for obvious reasons, and my first order of business every single time is attacking Minnesota and turning them from Minnesota into Upper Iowa. They can't win a Super Bowl, and they're not going to win this battle. It's an easy W. But you don't have to attack. Remember, this is a strategy game. You can be diplomatic and form an alliance with another nation and work together. I mean, you could. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna build up my army with tanks, jets, and nuclear submarines and turn my attention to Wisconsin. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The nuclear submarines are not super helpful in Midwestern warfare, but that's the type of flexibility that Conflict of Nations allows. I've already taken over Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm gonna put a nuclear submarine in every one of those lakes. Anyways, if you want to give it a try, it's available on both PC and mobile, and if you use my link and discount code down below, you're gonna get 13,000 free gold and a free 1-month membership. Let's get back to the video.
The beaver.
All right, let's just take this from the top. Beavers, okay, one of my favorite animals. Why? Because I believe it is the animal that is most similar to humans. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, what about monkeys? What about apes? What about chimpanzees? They've all got thumbs and they poke shit with sticks and they eat bananas just like people do. That's fine. I understand that they're very similar to people, but beavers are the most similar to humans in spirit. We are the only animals on the planet with the audacity to walk into a new ecosystem and be like, wow, I hate everything about this. I could A, migrate, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with option B and change everything about the world around me to make it suit me better and fuck everybody else. Now, do I...
Literally, that is literally what they do. Apparently, from studies, they have learned that when they hear rushing water, it gives beavers a kind of anxiety. They hate it. It's literally like, I need to stop that. Whatever's making that noise, I need to kill it. It's no more running water. I hate it. Because I think they tested it where they put a speaker in a calm stream, like there's no rushing water sounds or anything. They just put a speaker there that made rushing water going over rocks and everything. They made that sound. And then beavers came over there and like, stop it, cover it with dirt, stop it. Whatever's causing this rushing water, no, I'm gonna dam it up. Stop it. No more. How the audacity of Mother Nature to do that. No. So literally that's what they do. If they don't do it, they freak out.
Do I enjoy the wetlands that beavers create with their dams? No, it's not my jam. However, game recognized game, because when a beaver sees running water and is like,
you gonna do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
It's no different than when it's July and it's hot out and I decide to turn my air conditioner on so I can domesticate the wind so that my balls aren't hot, okay? It's about changing the environment around you rather than changing yourself. Okay, it's just that species-wide main character energy of, I don't need to evolve anymore, I'm perfect how I am, I'm going to evolve the world around me to some shit that I like more. So, while I have a great childish...
That's why I think humans, we're not going to evolve like as we normally do. I think human... quote-unquote evolution is going to be pretty stagnant as long as we have this technology, because every type of person survives. Every type of person with any sort of like disability. Like me, if I was born in a pre-technological era, I can't freaking see. I have glasses. I'd be dead. Yet I can reproduce. I mean, I haven't yet, but you know, I could. And then other people, it's like, oh yeah, I get sick easily or stuff like that. It's like because of the wonders of technology, people can live, which is wonderful. But like, we're just going to be a hodgepodge of tons of genetics and stuff. I don't think we're going to have that that evolution there. Everyone can reproduce. It's just so easy, relatively speaking. We'll be everywhere. It will never change. Or maybe we'll evolve into like two different subspecies of like the fastest, strongest, most handsome, and smartest. And then people like me who would just like can't do jack shit and we're just like living as gnome people underground. Something like that.
Respect for beavers. Unfortunately for the beavers, between the 15, 16, 17, 1800s, their furs made dope-ass hats and they were really popular all across Europe, and the beavers were almost hunted to extinction for their pelts. Okay, and as I'm sure you can imagine, no beavers means no beaver dams means no wetlands, and no wetlands messes up the entire ecosystem. Okay, we can't have it. We gotta quit killing all the beavers. So the early 1900s, people realized this. They put protections on the beavers and we quit trying to hunt them to extinction and actually try to help encourage their population to build back up. Okay, fast forward like 50 years, 1945, 1946, right around then, all the young men that went off and fought World War II are coming back home. They got a bunch of money from fighting that war. They want to get a wife, build a house, have some kids, do people things. So they start expanding. And one of the places this happens in is a town called McCall, Idaho. And they start expanding.
Wait. How did they spell that?
They want to get a wife, build a house called McCall, Idaho.
Why is there this McCall is missing? Oh, it's like Mick. Call like M, capital M, lowercase c, capital C, lowercase a, lowercase l. Okay, because when I saw this, I was like, this is missing a vowel. But it's Mick, like McDonald's call. All right, my brain had an aneurysm when I saw this. Like there needs to be an I, E, A, O, or U, sometimes Y between that first M and the C, or that M and this first C.
And they start expanding and the town gets bigger and bigger, and eventually it displaces a bunch of beavers that have been out in the woods doing beaver things for hundreds of years, and these new beavers get displaced and they go out and they start fucking up a bunch of farmers' fields and irrigation systems, and it gets to the point that the people in the town are just going to start shooting these beavers because they're messing everything up. At this point, the Idaho Fish and Game Department, presumably also full of World War I and World War II veterans, steps in and they're like, no, we're not gonna kill these beavers. These guys are awesome. They do a lot for the environment. We're gonna take them. We'll move them somewhere else where they can thrive.
We're not killing beavers. We're just relocating them.
So here's the plan. They're going to capture the beavers alive. They're going to drive them as far as they can on roads, and then they're going to pack them in on horses and mules miles and miles into the wilderness where they're not going to be near any humans ever. And this is a complete disaster pretty much from the start. They capture the beavers alive, stick them in a cage, throw them on a truck, try to drive them hours.
Is he doing that bear? No, he's got gloves. Because I was like, those beavers got big teeth. Ooh.
Wilderness. This is really hard on them because beavers, they're a lot like me. I like to sit in my house in the air conditioning. They like to sit in their dams in the nice, damp, wet environment to keep cool. Beavers can't keep cool on the back of an unair-conditioned truck in the mid-1940s. A lot of them are getting heat stroke, they're passing out, they're dying, they quit eating, or they get super agitated and they're very combative the entire time because they're hot. Then, even if the beavers do survive the truck ride, they're all pissed off and angry, and now they're getting strapped to a horse or a mule, and that pisses off the horse because he's got a bunch of angry beavers all over him, and now the horse is pissed off, and the whole thing just, it doesn't work. So now the Fish and Game Department is like, well, what are we gonna do? We gotta save all these beavers. We wanna get them up in the mountains so they can build their wetlands. It's gonna help protect the town from flash flooding. It's gonna prevent erosion. It's gonna be great for the environment. We gotta save these guys. And one guy at the Fish and Game Department presumably is like, I mean, I got an idea. Hear me out. We do have an awful lot of extra surplus parachutes from World War II laying around, and we've got a plane. Okay, now to us.
All right. First question I have from this is how the heck do you get the parachute to pull? Do you like preemptively pull the parachute and then just chuck the beaver out and then, you know, the parachute takes care of it? And I'm also wondering what percentage of beavers didn't have their parachute deployed? What percentage of those beavers didn't make it to the ground and alive? They had a sudden meeting with the ground at high velocity, I should say. So, just curious. Also, I hope he has footage of that too. Oh, I hope he has footage of like, look at all the beavers. Oh, tension lines? Are those lines that are connected to the plane and once they get a far enough distance, it pulls it? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I guess that can make sense.
Us in 2024, this sounds insane.
What if we send them to Mars? That won't help us. They can't build dams there. There's no trees.
There's no like rules and regulations, and it's in Idaho, which is basically the middle of nowhere at this point. Nobody's telling these guys what to do. A bunch of World War I, World War II veterans are like, Huh. It's actually a pretty good idea, Jimmy. You know, it did work at Normandy, and the beavers aren't even going to have Germans shooting at them, so I mean, pretty high likelihood they'll be fine. Let's try it.
Probably won't.
So, first order of business, we got to develop a box that opens up once it hits the ground and gets the beavers to the ground safely. Pretty simple. It's basically 2 halves of a box with some holes drilled in it. They weave the rope through. Once the parachute lands, there's no more tension on the rope. The box just kind of falls open. The beavers get out and start doing beaver things. So
I was really hoping they just put the parachute pack on the beavers themselves. Oh, I wanted to see a beaver with just his little arms in between 2 straps and everything. Oh, dang it. Of course they put him in a box. I wanted to see a beaver with a backpack. Ah, oh, come on.
So first we're going to test it before we put any innocent beavers at risk. We're going to take some empty weights, put them in the boxes, go up in the plane, drop them over the practice field, see how it goes. Goes fine the first couple of times, okay. Let's try it with 1 beaver, just for practice. So they go ahead, they pick an older male. He's out of his breeding prime, potentially dangerous to some of the younger males. If something does happen, he's lived out most of his life. They name him Geronimo because they're a bunch of meatheads and that shit's funny. So they put him in a crate, they take him up in the plane, drop him off over the practice field from 800 feet. Geronimo makes it and survives. Now, obviously, we're not going to put all our beavers in one basket because of 1 successful test run.
Welcome back,
we need multiple test runs to be certain that this is going to work. And now that Geronimo is technically our lucky beaver, he's going to do it again. So he does. Geronimo does it again. And again, and again, and he keeps jumping, like more than 12 jumps this beaver makes. And by the end of it, the parks employees reported that Geronimo would actually run up to them and help them put him in the crate because he was ready to go again. This is animal abuse, and what if one of those boxes didn't open after the parachute landed? I mean, okay, first of all, no it isn't. I've already went over the options. A, they could stay where they were at, being displaced, and end up getting shot by farmers for messing up their crops. B,
wait, okay, what do you think was going through that beaver's mind when he was being thrown out? Because I always wonder that we're an animal. It's being put inside, for all it knows, a giant metal hawk that it can see. And then they're getting up into the air, and now you're inside this weird contraption that's got you stuck inside of it. And then you're in free fall, and you can see out the little eye holes like, how did I get up here? What's happening? Oh my God, why does it feel like my heart is going to explode because of the adrenaline going on? And then suddenly, whoop, now suddenly you're slowing down, and then boom, you're now in the middle of a forest. Like, all right, guess I'm just going about my day. They just go off and like, I'm just going to go build a dam. Fuck this shit. Just gonna go do that. I would love to know what they're thinking, because apparently he got addicted to the adrenaline because he's like, do it again, do it again. He's just like me. Every single time I go to amusement park as a kid, I would always go, Mom, Dad, I don't want to get on the big water slide. I don't want to do it. It's scary. And then I'm just like tearing up as I'm going up and up and up. And then we finally get into the water ride. That's going to have like a bunch of loops and everything. And then I get into it and I'm loving it. And then I get at the end and I'm like, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. That's me. Every single time I do it like 10 times in a row. It's like, there are other rides we could do, Rave. Yeah, but this one's fun. I already know that this one's fun. I want to do it again.
They could spend days in transit on the truck and on a pack mule suffering and potentially dying. Or C, we could throw them in an airplane, fly them there in 15 minutes, and then throw them out the side. They can get their jump wings while they're doing their Band of Beavers reenactment, okay? It's literally the best option. Okay, secondly, why are you worried about the box not opening? Like, did you think about this at all? It's a pine box, and that's a beaver, okay? Literally the only animal in the animal kingdom known for cutting down trees with its fucking face. I have the utmost confidence that if one of those boxes malfunctions, the beaver is going to figure it out. All right, so now they have their beaver.
And if it doesn't,
they develop a plan.
It's an evolutionary dead end.
Different locations all over this wooded area where they're going to be able to drop these beavers off in groups of like 3 to 5, 2 males.
The closest I've ever come to doing jumping out of a plane is I did paragliding. I've never done bungee jumping, but you know, this is making me, if a beaver can pretty much do, jumping out of a plane, what's that called? Parachuting, parachuting, whatever it's called. If a beaver can do it, I mean, I can do it. So now I just need to, muster up the courage, get into a plane, and then jump out of a perfectly good plane. Skydiving, that's it. If a beaver can skydive, I can do it too. I just have this thing about my body that says, why would you want to jump out of a perfectly good plane? The plane's working. Now, if the plane is going down, I'm the first person to grab a parachute and I'm jumping the hell out of there. But it's like, hey, I don't need to jump out. So why would I do it? But maybe I need to try it.
3 females, 1 male, 3 females. something like that, enough that they're going to be able to rebuild their own little colonies, but they're going to be spread out enough that they're not going to congregate into one thing, and it's going to be a humongous boost to the beaver population. This is what conservation's all about. So they get that all figured out, they have the plan in place, they know the delivery method, now they just got to go catch all the beavers. So they go back to town, catch them all, there's 76 of them. They take them back, they start loading them in crates, and they're going to take them up in the plane and throw them out the side. And here's the best part about the whole thing. They filmed it.
Into the drop
Yes!
box. Nearly ready for that flight back into the mountains.
No,
And this
let
way
me
you can
out.
really start to see that this is a different time. I mean, look at this absolute Chad just manhandling this beaver into that crate with no safety.
There's no
equipment,
gloves.
No eye pro, nothing. If this were modern day, that guy would have leather protective gloves up to his elbow. He'd have safety glasses with a hard hat, with a face shield, with a leather apron. He'd have two dudes holding his hand while he did it just to make the safety guy happy. No, this is just some angry war veteran throwing a beaver into a box like it's another 8-hour workday. It's fantastic. That's it.
I completely agree with I agree with like 99% of what he just said, except the gloves. If I was doing that, I'd be like, can I have like gloves? They could have ticks, they could have lice, they could have fleas, it could bite me. Just give me gloves. Okay, just give me some gloves and I'm good to go. I don't need anything else, okay? I think I can handle a beaver. But if like my hand just slips, it's gonna and there goes my hand. I don't want that. Okay, give me the gloves.
They get the beavers loaded up on the plane takes off, they drop all the beavers in their designated drop zones. 75 out of the 76 survived. I don't know how they know this. I'm assuming they had people on the ground at the different drop locations to make sure the boxes opened or that the beavers made it or whatever. But apparently the one beaver that didn't make it had somehow either slipped through the crack when the rope was loose or eaten his way out of the box after they let it out of the plane.
What?
And the beaver was last seen standing on top of the box with the parachute above him, and he probably would have been fine, except when he got 75 feet off the ground, he decided to jump.
They don't have a video
on
of
one
this?
hand, that's kind of sad, but on the other hand, natural selection. If the other 75 beavers figured it out and you didn't, it's probably on you. On a happier note, though, the boys at the Fish and Game Department decided to hook up their lucky beaver, Geronimo. This is posted in the Journal of Wildlife Management, Volume 14, Number 2, April of 1950. The article, Transplanting Beavers by Airplane and Parachute by Elmo W. Heater, Idaho Fish and Game Department, McCall, Idaho. And I quote, Geronimo had a priority reservation on the first ship into the hinterland, and that with 3 young females went with him.
Damn!
They had to hook up their boy. And he made it. Apparently they went to check in on him a couple years later, and his new colony was, and I quote, very well established. And Geronimo was not unique in that, because pretty much every drop zone ended up turning into a thriving beaver colony.
Aw, they're so
in the
cute.
following years, because they kept tabs
Welcome,
on this
Forsaken.
entire thing. And not only did it work, it was also super cost effective, because according to this journal, the cost of transplanting one of these colonies was $30. It was $2 for the box, $16 for the surplus cargo parachute, and the flight time, man hours, and fuel totaled to $12 for a total of $30 per colony. And just to be clear, that's the actual crazy part about this story. It's not the fact that they actually had airborne beavers to go save the environment. No, that seems pretty reasonable. The crazy part is that these guys back in the 1940s managed to get the job done, have fun, and record it, and they did it for like $300 to $500. Because we all know in modern times, if they wanted to do this, there'd have to be like a 15-year-long environmental impact study that costs the US taxpayers $25 million just so that the government could determine that if you drop beavers off in the forests, they will in fact do what beavers do. And then once the government goes ahead and says it is,
I would love if they did something where they give a group of, I don't know, environmental government workers today, they give them this task. And they ask them, can you figure out, like, mock it up? Because, we're thinking about doing this. We're totally going to do this. But mock this up, and can you tell us, can you give us a ballpark estimate of, like, the best case scenario of how much this would cost us? Just to see how much overblown they will do it. And say, oh, yeah, it'll cost, $25 million if we're going to be doing that over the course of 5 years and everything like that. And they're like, okay, well, you're full of shit, because we know that it can be done for, like, I don't know, Let's round it up to like $100 today. I don't know what $30 in the 1940s to today is. Let's say $100, maybe $200. Hell, $200 is pretty good too. $200 per colony. It's like, we know you're full of shit. Try better. So you're just racking up all the prices. You hate it. Yeah, I hate it. translate that into today's money? We'll do that after
It is in fact
once the video
okay to
ends.
put beavers in the woods. It's going to take another 10 years for Lockheed Martin and Boeing to bid on the contract worth $100 million to relocate 100 beavers into the woods.
Is it just me, or was that the stupidest thing we've ever seen?
Sorry, I'm ranting. In conclusion, the moral of the story is if it sounds dumb, but it works, it's not that dumb, and sometimes it's ridiculously cost-effective to just let people do their job. Also, beavers are cool, and airborne beavers are even cooler, and this has been the story of America's band of beavers, the airborne paratrooper beavers that went in to save the environment. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over to fatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Wait. There's gonna
I
be
didn't
more?
make a single vagina joke in that entire video. I'm finally maturing. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to go check out Conflict of Nations, okay? You get to pick your own country, mainly the United States. Otherwise, let's face it, you're just competing for second place. Don't forget to use my code down below to get the freebies.
There's
I'm
no
gonna go
second
conquer
place in
Wisconsin.
war.
Why? Because they've got spotted cow beer, and I want some.
Sir, just so we're clear, the Angry Beavers is a kid's cartoon.
Oh, I love that show. Oh, I love Robot Chicken. Gosh darn, Robot Chicken's so good. That's so good. Don't look it up, Rave. It'll make you cry so much worse. No, I'm looking it up. Let's see. Okay, before we end this, hang on. Inflation. Don't look up inflation. You can get some really weird, messed up results if you do that. So, oh my God, never mind. That's so much more than I thought it was. Jeez, that's almost $700. Is that normal? That's not normal, right? Whoa. Okay, well, that's inflation for you. So, you know, YouTube, people watching this video, if inflation makes you sad, and I don't mean the fetish, I mean like this type of inflation, not the other stuff, let me know. And also maybe come by the stream lives. We do it on YouTube and Twitch now, and come by the Discord. We'd love to have you. But until next time, hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay awesome, y'all.